Today I have a really excited video to share with you guys, because today I will explain which of the sins the bluelock characters represent. You have probably heard of a group of sins called the 7 deadly sins. However, if you have never heard of the 7 deadly sins, then don't worry, because I will briefly explain all of the sins and what they mean. The 7 deadly sins, also known as the capital vices or cardinal sins. The 7 deadly sins are 7 things God is said to have hated in the book of Proverbs. Now, let's get into the first sin and the first player. The first one is lust. Lust is usually thought of an intense desire for sexual acts, but it also means unbridled desire for things as money or power. However, lust is generally thought to be the least serious sin. And the player which I think represents lust the best is none other than Shidou Ryoshi. Shidou's lust is his search to enjoy life to the fullest by playing football, and he's one of the few players which completely aligns with Ego's ideal candidate for the bluelock program. And of course, Shidou's strange conversations with Sae can't be overlooked. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, then just take a look here.
What the hell? Oh my god!
Now I will say that my reason for putting Shidou in lust is one of my weaker arguments, but it wasn't anyone which directly stood out when I was thinking about it. However, I still think that Shidou is a solid contender for lust. And the next one is Gluttony. Gluttony is the overindulgence and overconsumption of anything to the point of waste, basically making it straight pointless. Now, my contender for Gluttony is the man himself, Isagi yoichi, and it's of course his raw hunger for improvement which gets him this spot. Or to put it more blatantly, it's his raw ability to devour his opponents. When he devours his opponents, he makes them feel weaker or even pointless to him, which makes them afraid of him, and that leads to them pretty much becoming useless, with the exception of people like Boro. What I'm trying to say with this is that when Isagi devours someone, he makes them feel worthless and ends up obeying his commands. Which is the exact opposite of what a bluelock player is supposed to be, because the point of bluelock is to find their own egos and not someone else's. And that's why I think Isagi fits Gluttony perfectly. And after that comes greed. Greed, also known as cupidity, is a sin of desire like lust and gluttony. However, greed is applied artificially, and it's a desire for the pursuit of material possessions, which means that greed is an incoordinately desire to acquire or possess more than one needs, especially with respect to material wealth. Like pride, it can lead to evil, and who else fits this perfectly than our favorite chameleon, Ryo Mikage. Ryo's ego and goal is to win the World Cup trophy, which shows his greed for an artifact, which in this case is the World Cup trophy. Ryo was ready to throw away everything he got from his parents just to follow his dream, and that's what I call greed. Because even though Ryo would have been set for life, he turned it down and became obsessed with the World Cup, really showing how greedy Ryo can be. And next up is Sloth. Sloth's most important trait is affectlessness, a lack of any feeling about self or other, a mind state that gives rise to boredom, rancory, apathy, and a passive insert of sluggish mentation. Sloth has also been deemed as a failure to do things that one should do, and the one whose whole life is the embodiment of this is Nagi Shishiro. Nagi had a complete lack of ambition and he did nothing to try and better himself or work towards a goal. Instead, he was fine with being affectlessness and did everything he could to not do something annoying. However, this all changed in the second selection arc when he betrayed Ryo and went with Isagi instead. And this shocked everyone, as he now wanted to become a better player with the help of Isagi, which showed his greed for improvement. However, off the pitch, Nagi still has the same personality as before bluelock and wants to lay around in bed playing on his phone. And that's why I think Sloth is perfect for him. After Sloth comes wrath. Wrath can be defined as uncontrollable feelings of anger, rage, and even hatred. Wrath often reveals itself in the wish to seek vengeance. I think that this sin represents Itoshi Rin perfect with his anger for most of the bluelock characters, but especially Isagi yoichi and of course Itoshi Sae, and his wish to seek vengeance on his brother who left him lonely after the day when Sae came home from Spain and challenged Rin to a one-on-one. Rin's anger and rage has been out of control, with him swearing that he will break his brother from ruining their dream. And when we finally thought that Rin's anger and hatred would die down after the youth-winning match when Sae came over to talk to him, however, it only became worse as Itoshi Sae still didn't approve of Rin and instead complimented Isagi, which got Rin to hate Isagi and Sae even more. However, Rin's wrath can be looked at in a positive way as well, as he helped him achieve an incredible performance in the U20 game, with Rin becoming obsessed with anger. So I think this is like a hate-love relationship for Rin, as he helps him out but ultimately destroys him. But I think that Rin and wrath goes hand in hand. And here comes envy. Envy is characterized by a desire like greed and lust. It can be described as a sad or resentful feeling towards the traits of possessions of someone else's. And the one to represent the act of envy the best is Yukimiya Kenju. Yukimiya has been shown to have great envy towards characters like Isagi in the Neo Egosis League, where he thought that Isagi always got the extra help as he got aligned with Noah. Yukimiya envied Isagi for having things which he didn't have. However, after Isagi passed to him, it seemed like they got on good terms once again. But I still think that Yukimiya is a great representative for envy. And lastly is pride. Pride is identified as dangerously corrupt selfishness, putting one's own desires, urges, wants, and whims before the welfare of others. Now I think that most of the Blue Lock characters shows the act of pride a lot, as the main purpose of Blue Lock is to play football for yourself and be selfish and put yourself above others. But there's one character whose selfishness is on a whole another level, and I'm of course talking about Baru Shohei. Baru's main focus has always been to play football for himself and make plays which he wants to do, which we even saw as early as the first game in the series where he took commando and became a symbol for his team. He was only able to do that because of his selfishness. However, we caught Baru lacking, because in the match between Team Isagi and Team Rio, Baru actually passed Isagi, which led to a goal. Reacting his own urges to score, he chose to pass because of Isagi's immense powers and fear. However, after some minutes, he was like fuck that and went back to his old selfishness. And if there would be one player in Blue Lock which would be crowned as a true egoist, I think there would be Baru, which gives him the right to the sin of pride. And that's the 7 sins done. Now this video was really fun to make, so I hope that you enjoyed it. And big thanks to both Dr. Danger and Next MC who gave me this idea and helped me out with the characters. However, if you think that you have someone else in mind which would fit one of the sins better, then please leave it down in the comments, because I love reading your guys' comments. And I also think that this topic is super interesting. I also want to thank you guys for the amazing support I've been given, even though I've been kind of slacking with the content, but that all ends now because we are going crazy. And if you feel like you want to see more of me, then please consider subscribing to my second channel, where I will be doing chapter reviews of Blue Lock, of course, but also maybe some Jujutsu Kaisen, Black Clover, and maybe some more. And if you're curious to see another one of my videos, then please watch the video which will be popping up on the screen right now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.